People who used to work at a glory hole, what's your experience? Up until I got arrested for public indecency, some of your moms probably called me poor to nut. This year I decided that I was done being a broke college student. I spent all my money on my tuition and was living off of saltine crackers and ramen packets. But I had enough of that. Being broke is being lonely. There were so many girls that were interested in me on campus, but I knew better than to date someone if I was broke. So, my friend proposed the idea that I work at an adult video shop, and he was very persistent about it. He told me that it was a gig he used to work for but tapped out once he made enough bands for the year. When I asked him about specifics, he said that he couldn't really say it out loud, but I had to bring a couple of rubbers to the job. I didn't really get what he meant, so I looked up what it could have possibly meant. And after reading a bunch of other posts on Reddit on what adult video store and rubbers meant, it meant working at a glory hole. Based on the fact that I was the one wearing the rubber, that meant I would be a personal toy for girls to use. To be honest, I was scared about the idea, but when I started watching videos on the hub for research, I got extremely excited. Girls were gonna want to explore me? That's the dream. The next day when I got to the adult video store, I noticed that the majority of the toys that were sold were for women's pleasure only. The videos were all of men too. I tried to take any notes on technique so that I would make sure the girls would come back. When I talked to the owner, she immediately knew what I was there for since my friend had contacted the shop beforehand. She asked about my size and my reload time. I told her 9 inches and that I would just need about a minute or two to recharge. Admittedly, I lied because I was desperate for the job, but this would bite me back later. She set me up in a dressing room booth in the back and said to expect a couple of customers in the next half hour, and that they'll put 3 fingers in the hole to signal when to put my meat in. In 10 minutes someone came in and put in their 3 fingers. It was a woman who seemed a little unsure of herself, so I made sure I gave her my all. I put on a rubber and I slammed my meat in. I was inside her going at it, but this must have lasted about 6 minutes before I blew my load. I accidentally broke the number 1 rule and spoke, telling her that I just needed a minute or two to get him back up. By the second minute, $400 in cash were slid through the hole and all she had to say to me was, "You take too long." At first I didn't care because I just made $400, but when the next 2 customers came and they both left for the exact same reason, I knew that there was a problem. When it was time for me to leave, the owner of the shop told me that I needed to work on my stamina if I wanted to keep my job, because I left too many customers unsatisfied today. If I didn't get this fixed, I was going to lose the gig of a lifetime. So, I went back to my friend to ask if he had any advice on lasting longer with the female customers, and he laughed at my face. He said there